Back here on Sportsline, John Burton with you for another half hour or so. A couple of updates for you. The Nashville Predators in Toronto tonight, where they currently trail the Maple Leafs 2-1 in the second intermission. So the Preds will try to do what they did a couple nights ago, a rally as they trail going into the third period. Same deal a couple nights ago in New York against the Islanders. They were able to win in overtime. College basketball, the Vandy men lead Georgia 39-31. That game is at the half. So right now the Commodores with the lead at Memorial Gym. Speaking of Vanderbilt, their head football coach Derek Mason meeting with the media this afternoon after his 2018 recruiting class was complete. Here's what Coach Mace had to say on National Signing Day.
Oh man, our second signing day period, and for us, man, I like what this class yielded. 22 guys, extremely talented, long, athletic. We signed 5 in the second, signing day, and this class rounds out as being the best class that I've had since I've been here. So extremely excited about what this class is, where we're going. I truly believe, man, we're still not done yet. When I look at this class, and this class, filled out with guys, with length at the receiver position. D-line, we needed to get a little older. So, man, we wound up getting Louis Vecchio, who I think, is going to be a great addition to this group. Louis was a young man who I recruited when I was at Stanford. He wound up going to Penn, had a chance to reconnect with him, and he wound up being the sack leader, in the Ivies. I think that length and that experience of games played is going to really bode well for this football team. So, when I look at him, I look at Amir, a long receiver, long catch radius. I like exactly who he is and what he's going to be for us. Another long guy because, Kyle needs weapons. I look at Lorenzo Surgers, another long defensive end. He's young, needs to put some weight on, but I like wingspan. I like length at the defensive end position. And, coming out of his program, which is in a 6A program in Carolina, he plays in the highest classification. I like exactly where he's going to go. Parker Tone was much needed and necessary. Another Ivy League, grad transfer who will come to us this summer. Parker, 6'3", extremely talented, first-team All-Ivy. Punting and feels the need right now. So he's going to step in and really give us a boost where needed and necessary in 2018. So when you look at this group, along with B.J. Anderson, who's the corner out of Andalusia, we're long, we're athletic, and I'm excited about this class.
Any of these guys pop up on your radar since the early sign period, or all these guys pretty much lined up and ready to go back then?
A couple. And Lewis was somebody who I'd been talking to for a while. When I looked at Parker was somebody. As soon as we understood, what was going to happen with our punting situation, Parker was somebody who we, had started a relationship with and knew that we may go after. So, he was somebody in the boat for a while. BJ and really Lorenzo were probably the two guys, that came on the radar, later. As we started to look, at how we need to fill out this class. There were guys that were on our board, guys that we had seen in camp, guys that we had had a chance to talk to. But like anything else, you continue to see attrition and work through your class and look at your boards and figure out exactly what's the right fit. And these guys were the right fit.
You like the way that worked out then, when you sort of had the early period, then reevaluate and say, okay, we need a little of this, and you're able to get it, I guess? I like it.
I like the idea of understanding how we need to address needs, and you're not, really all over the place in terms of trying to, hold on to, forecast out, and trying to, reel in extra guys on the back end. I thought it was, a great first signing period, and I think the latter part of this signing period netted us exactly what's needed for this football team.
Freshmen have time to develop, obviously. Grad transfers have to kind of jump around the fray.
Plug and play.
A punter, obviously, he's going to be a punter. But with Vecchio, what's your expectation of a grad transfer? Should he has to be in the rotation? He needs to start. What should he do in just a 1 year?
If I'm bringing in older players, they're plug and play guys. Obviously what I want to do is make sure I can put as many weapons and around Kyle, as many factors defensively for us, man, that I can get, in this class. So when it's all said and done, we can play great defense and we can be explosive on offense. So with that being said, I'm not done yet.
The transfer route has been pretty good to you the last 2 years. Is this
right.
kind of just a thing that happened for 2 years where the dominoes lined up right, or is this going to be sort of a strategy going forward?
I think it's a little bit of both. Things have to align properly in order for it to work, but it's somewhat of a strategy. Remember, Vanderbilt's a sought-after institution when you talk about a graduate education. So with that being the case across the country, now with what we're seeing in terms of transfer students and what's happening in college athletics, it's a well sought after degree. It's SEC football, so it makes it something, man, that we've had to look at, and it's been fruitful for us. Yeah.
Derek, with Kevin Chonowald in a quarterback in high school, is the door totally closed on him as a quarterback? Is there a possibility he may get a look from you guys down the road?
I can't speak to that. I have to let Andy, speak to that. Gavin's a tremendous athlete, man. He can do exactly what he wants to do. But I think, as Gavin was recruited in this process, he sees himself as a tight end. He wants to play tight end. And when you look at, the prestige around the position nowadays. I mean, I know quarterback, but tight ends are garnering just as much attention as quarterbacks nowadays. Quarterback's best friend. He's played both, so I think he can be his own best friend, or he can be one of the best tight ends in the country. Yeah.
Do you guys going forward, if a guy is committed to you and doesn't sign, because you had 2 that you lost, do you consider that maybe next year, hey, if he doesn't sign with us, he's not a commit, maybe that opens up the spot? How do you evaluate that going forward?
No, I think that's why we wound up with a class that's in the top 40. I mean, when you look at it, we've gone after guys and that we hadn't gone after in years past. And we've been able to build relationships. We've been able to recruit better players. Man, we were able to bring in 7 4-star recruits in this class. And when you start to look at it, I mean, anytime you go after big time talent, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That's what it is. It's about being competitive. And so with that, I welcome those challenges.
You had some good signings at wide receiver, but you just look at that position on your roster, you're really young there. Now, Kalijah's played plenty, but are you concerned at all that you got a lot of possibilities there, but not a lot of guys with experience at wide receiver?
Well, what I have is a group of guys with skill set. I mean, like in this conference, I mean, when you talk about guys with skill set, remember Kalijah Lipscomb stepped on the scene as a freshman. When you look at Metcalf, okay, man, at Ole Miss, he stepped on the scene as a freshman. When you look at Ridley, okay, at Georgia, freshman. When you look at the other Ridley, a couple of years ago, freshman. Skill players can make an impact in this conference. So I say all the time, recruit great skill, let them play. And with that being the case, experience is a great teacher. But the game is not too big for these guys. I think all these guys have, tremendous skill sets. When you look at C.J. Bowler, when you look at, Amir, those guys can play. So, anytime you're 6'4" and it becomes jump ball and you can go get it, with wingspan and true skill set in terms of hand-eye coordination, man, these guys have it. So I like who they are, where they are, and young guys are going to have to play.
Derek Mason, head football coach at Vanderbilt, talking about his 2018 recruiting class here on National Signing Day. Time for another break. When we come back, we'll switch gears, go from college to pro football. The Titans introduce their new assistant coaches to head coach Mike Vrabel. We'll meet some of them next. Stay with us.